Good morning and welcome back to the channel. It is a rainy Saturday morning here in beautiful northern Alabama. So, my plan to take off the transmission pan and pull the valve body and rebuild it on these beautiful white towels is delayed because I don't want to get under the truck. It's going to suck enough getting under there on my back in my driveway pulling that pan. It's going to suck even more with water dripping in my eyes and being wet and ugh, no thanks. But I got a new tool for the garage. So that pan, amongst other mistakes that Chrysler made, amongst other mistakes that all the automakers make I guess in the name of convenience or in the name of manufacturing expense, uh, they didn't put a drain plug in the pan. So taken off, if you look at any video, doesn't matter who takes it off. Thoroughbred took one off and they made a mess. And anybody that takes a pan off without a drain on it, this is the drain I'm putting in it, makes a mess, and it's really inconvenient and just dumb. Uh, so that being said, I needed a welder. I don't have a welding card. I put it here because I'll be welding here anyway. I generally don't need to weld physically on the truck, and it's got this conveniently long gun. So I needed to put this bung into the pan. I don't have any interest in spilling transmission fluid all over me. I'm keeping the truck for a while, and it's just a nice thing to do for the next owner. And it's not going to be the last time I service the transmission. I service my transmissions every 30,000 to 50,000 miles, depending on the transmission and what I do with it. On a truck, I'm usually doing it about once a year or 30,000 miles, whichever comes first, and it's usually once a year. And that's just how I do it. The idea that I owned a '67 Ford, and I deleted it, and I ended up selling it to someone else. They needed a truck, and I had three 1-ton trucks at the time, and that was the one that I had the payment on that I didn't want to keep, and it wasn't really something I needed, so I let it go. So I sold it to them. Ford has a 100,000 mile transmission fluid lifespan, whatever that is. These new automakers telling you that you can run lifetime anything and any fluid that has any type of thermal bearing to it, as in it gets hot and cold and hot and cold, and that's not a real thing. Sorry, I was interrupted by a phone call. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. Any fluid that has a fluid constant change in temperature, just hitting wearing surfaces and all that, you should not. I don't care what any manufacturer says. You should not run transmission fluid for 100,000 miles ever. I don't care I don't care if you just drive it back and forth to work and you use your 1-ton truck like a car. Don't do it. You are going to ask for trouble at some point in the life of that truck. Anyway, I'll get off that soapbox. But I do service my transmission quite often, and I will have that truck long enough to not only do the work I need to do this transmission now, but also in the future. And for my own convenience, I think I paid $6 for this little plug. It's got a little steel bung on it that, let me get it unscrewed here. It's a very simple operation. A little steel bung and a little plug with a copper washer. So I'll get that installed. But I didn't own a welder. I do now. I didn't own a welder to do that, and I would have had to take it to the same place that welded up my socket for that Allison transmission, which is sitting over there, still in mothballs. I did drain a lot of fluid out of that thing. I let it drain for like 2 weeks. I just turned it upside down, or turned it on its end, so the tail shaft drained into a bucket for like 2 weeks. But anyway, I needed a welder, and I'm going to need a welder in the future. It wasn't like I needed 15 minutes worth of welding and then I would never use this welder again. And I'll tell you why I bought this welder. So this welder is the Hobart Handler 140. It's 115 volt. It'll do up to a 1/4 inch. I've got it set up for solid wire. I'm not going to be using flux core. I changed the polarity, and I got my argon bottle here, as you can see. Yesterday, I picked this up yesterday, so the total bill on this, and Hobart's not sponsoring this video. I'm not that popular on the YouTube where people want to send me really nice stuff. If Hobart wants to do a collab, let me know. We can get together. But for the purposes of this video, I paid for this out of my own pocket. So the welder was $5.29. The bottle was whatever. I got an extra spool of wire. That's what I bought. So I got the solid core, and I got 30 thousandths wire, which should be fine for this application and just about anything else I don't need to do. But the reason I got the bottle is because clean welding. I don't like welding with flux core. I know flux core's come a long way, but it's not my favorite, and I don't want to deal with it. If I can use a small bottle, I mean, again, and I'm working out of my garage. I don't run a shop. I don't weld professionally. I'll never weld professionally if I can avoid it. I know how to weld. I know how to grind. I know how to plasma cut, but I don't need a welder that I should mount in the back of my truck and power my house off of. So this is the 140, 115. It'll do like automotive, like body panels, and it'll also go up to a 1/4 inch. Probably multi-pass, but still a 1/4 inch. You might be able to do more with that. I don't know, but I probably won't do more than that ever. Even if I do a little framework on the K30 Chevy, that is not a very that's not a very thick metal. So I picked this up. It's a typical welder. It's not capable of TIG welding, and I didn't need to TIG weld. I don't ever TIG weld. I don't need to do that kind of welding, so I'm not going to. Everything I need to do is MIG welding, so that's what I bought. Out the door, everything was $705, and here it sits. So I'm going to do a little welding, and it'll be one more tool in the shop that I can use. My beautiful 350 square foot shop, aka 2-car garage in my HOA controlled neighborhood. But I've used Lincoln welders before. I learned on a Lincoln 111 on my 38th birthday. I didn't learn to weld until I was 38 years old, when I actually needed to learn how to weld to put the Isuzu motor in the Chevy before I decided to go the route of buying a Cummins. So yeah, I learned to weld on my 38th birthday. I learned in about an hour and a half, and then the guy that taught me said, "Hey man, looks like you got it. Give me a thumbs up." And I never asked him to help me again. Not that he wouldn't have, but I wanted to learn on my own, and that's the way I learned best. I learned best by trial by fire. I learned best by drinking from the fire hose. Just get in there, get it done, learn it, do it, be done with it. Getting good at that skill obviously is going to take time. Took time. I did a lot of welding on that truck. I welded up the exhaust. I welded up the body mounts. I welded up my motor mounts. I welded up a lot. I did a lot of welding on that truck. And that was obviously a 220 welder. A bigger welder could really put some heat out if it needed to. Again, I don't need that. If I'm going to be doing like body work and tunnel work and replacing rusty panels and stuff like that, this welder right here is what I need. So that's what I bought. I bought the tool that I needed because I don't necessarily think that I'm going to go make money as a welder. When I owned my construction companies, I always bought professional level tools, of course, because I was doing it as side work, but I needed to make money. And I've got a rigid chop saw that I bought in 2005 that made me about $40,000. I mean, it made me a lot of money. $750 investment 15 years ago made me a lot of money in my companies. Same with my table saw and all my DeWalt tools and everything. I always bought the top level stuff because I had to make money with it, but it also helps around the house. And I still have those tools. I still have the original chop saw, the original table saw, and a couple other corded tools. They're over there. Some of the original DeWalt corded tools. They still work. I still use them. I have replaced all of that as well with battery operated stuff, but I always bought professional level stuff. But I didn't take that road with this welder. Not that you couldn't weld professionally with it, but again, it's not something I think I need to drop everything and go make money welding. I'm not a certified welder anyway. But so, I think when it comes to something like this, a purchase like this is a huge purchase. It's a lot of money, um, and I have really. It took me a long time to get to the point where I'm like, okay, I need to go pull the trigger on a welder. It's not something I just did on a whim, like, oh, let's go buy a welder today because welders. No, it doesn't work like that for me. I buy a lot of tools that I need. I need a lot of tools for the diesel service stuff I've been doing on both the 12 valve and the Chevy, and the 24 valves that I've owned. I bought a couple specialty tools when I had that Ford, and I got rid of it. And those tools went with that Ford because the guy needed them. I didn't need them anymore, and I didn't want to work on another Ford 6.7. Not that it was that terrible of a truck to work on, but I'm not going to go in the business of being a diesel mechanic on Ford motors. I don't like lifting the cab to do anything, so that's not a game for me. Take it to a dealership or take it to somebody else and let them take you for the cab off the frame ride. Not for me. But anyway, well, thanks for watching. Sorry this ran a little longer than I planned. It was just a simple welder review, but I like to rant, and this is my channel, so I'll rant all I want, I suppose. But again, like, subscribe, turn on that little notification bell, and leave a comment below. If any of you have bought a Handler 140 or its equivalent, let me know what you think. Leave that comment down below. We'll have a conversation about it. Thanks for watching.